Okay, there. It's been a little bit slow. Okay. Actually, don't look that bad. Those are on here. But I guess I could have done it in that window too. True enough. In fact, maybe I will. I gotta close this though. The dog was making some noise. He's settled down. Yeah, it was slow, kind of getting to the final step, and then it did, and then it still had to be reloaded. I also had to relaunch the browser, and I'm going to close it a bit more, I think. And actually, I had to click it a few times, but extra ones didn't seem to open, which is weird. Yeah, and as far as this thing that I sometimes just about, you know what? I and others have had good and bad luck, whether we do it or not. That's the point of the matter. It's just the way things are right now. I've been focusing more on that because it's hard not to. Okay. Wait till you see my Sadie's St. Patty's Day outfit. Just trying to get a little extra attention. And I just came out of the bath, it's true. So, I need a pull and thread, and I have to bring all these things downstairs. The positioning of the screen actually does not show the desk that much, which is fine. So, I just wanted to do a really quick one, then I have some other things to do. And I know I said before, I always say, oh, these videos that you posted way back in the day, like you got one in front of me. Okay, cool. And that's me seeing this. I might actually wait to jump into the topic until she gets here, but this one's just short. And playing from one on to the other isn't necessarily a good technique. I think that someone, well, I don't want to say too many details, but let's just wait till at least as a viewer. That's all I'll say. You know, whether they stay or not. Let's just wait because it just makes more sense, I think. I do have somebody typing me a message too, so I'm going to be distracted by that from that in a moment. Did I not grab my scrap? Okay. I'll get it in a moment. Oh! Okay, it wasn't much and it wasn't anything hugely important that I said in the first 2 minutes, but I didn't have the speaker jack in, so I'm not sure if it recorded, but I'll be curious to watch this back and find out. And so if it did, then I'll know that it does either way. We're just talking about some funky glitches getting started up here, and that I'm just about to receive a message from somebody, so I'm going to wait till I do to start. I'm also going to go. Oh, yeah, you saw me. Oh, as far as it's something that I think is very important, as far as, you know, a certain something that I sometimes get superstitious about. For me and for other people, good and bad happens irregardless. I think just the way things have been lately for me, a bit of a struggle, I notice it more. That's the top of these paintings. And then I got to get downstairs. I want to have some coffee and a brownie. It might be past 8. It is actually about 8, right on the dot. But sometimes it is, and I haven't had any yet. So, and then, and no, not that kind. Store bought. And I wanted to find us immediate. But you know what? Just being around each other with the radio, and it's also nice. And it's not like we never talk to each other. Yeah, see, these are showing all of the secrets. And you know, even if a certain someone who I'm kind of thinking might tune into this doesn't during, hopefully she will after. Although, and because I had to reload it, I'm not sure if the selection to show the chat afterwards, you know, the live chat afterwards will still be there or not, or will have done it or not. But nobody's here, so I mean, yeah, they can be after the fact, but this won't be very long anyway, and you can just skip ahead. Um, almost didn't. I noticed this new comment. I was like, I think there's a new comment there, but why is it not quite jumping? Okay. I don't know if I need to say something about having a stickler for grammar, but yeah, I noticed. Because I do have an eye for detail, and I do fixate. And I mean, I never mean to be annoying when I'm. And I heard the dog 10 minutes before I started this, and I thought he was wanting to come downstairs too, and he probably will want to soon. But yeah, I never mean to be annoying when I'm saying, "Oh, there's a viewer," blah blah. Blah. What I'm meaning to do, aside from the fact that I fixate it, or the fact that I'm like say attention to details and I blurt sometimes, but it's also that I'm really just welcoming you. Like I won't say your name unless you comment because I won't know it. But it's I think it's an inviting thing to do when I think about it. Uh, I'm just trying to get something to send through because I really don't intend for this to be very long. And a certain someone, she wasn't trying to just come up with any old excuse and to avoid doing it, to avoid watching. I know that she would be happy to watch, but I do feel like she gave a kind of lame. I don't want to. If you watch this back, I'm not meaning to sound a certain way there. That's me. It's just that. It's just that. Well, what I'm trying to get sent to you kind of explains that you can just either keep those on there and probably still have room, but you can also just simply move them. You don't have to. Doesn't have to be a long drawn out process. But I feel like this is becoming one. So um, it would be so cool to have her here while live and to have her hear my thoughts, whether there's anybody else here or not. And also, I think it has to face a different way because there's a little, and ever since the relaunch, they're all being slow. There's a little okay, they did send a little tourney thing. I don't know what they call it, but a little. It's actually a Calhoun drum, which since someone I've been thinking about has a grandfather that used to design those. Okay, so somebody was there for literally a few seconds. But anyway, I'm just gonna start, and we'll go from there. And I can look at that tab later. I don't really. It doesn't really work very well to play videos out of here. So play. Unfortunately, that's kind of sad too. But play out videos on here. It has to be from a different device, which isn't logged into that Facebook. So as far as like the memories that like going on my mind. But speaking of that, and yeah, I saw a post. I don't know if maybe I should just quickly read it out. Actually, I'm sure we've all heard things like this before. That is really loud, even with the door closed. And I don't want YouTube to pick it up and say, "Oh, copyright." But he's got his music on in the other room. So, and it's also it's quite warm up here. So I'm going to do two things and then get the moving and grooving here. Hopefully, I won't get stuck in this. I can pound the door because the handle is loose from Wonky Donkey. But it's all this post, again, I'm sure we've all seen something like this before. It looks like it's bigger writing this time around, but it's pre-typed and it probably isn't. It's hit me. You never really know how to, although I remember Dylan a little bit, but, and probably I've never thought about them, and I relate this to hobby. Really know the true impact you have on those around you. And I might just portion this is Natasha. That's part of the struggle, even though I'm trying to put myself out there. I don't know, a lot of times there's nobody. And when there is, a lot of times it's good, but sometimes they do. But I need more consistency in my life, like I used to have. But times were different then, abilities were different then, mother was easier then. Busing wasn't what it is now. And it wasn't great then, but it's even worse now. I don't know, it was easy. I don't know, different things were easy to be involved in back then. But anyway, you never know how much someone needed that smile you gave them. Ironic that I paused at smile. If you've seen the past couple of videos, you never know how much your kindness turns someone's entire life around, and you never know how much someone needed that long hug or deep talk. So don't wait to be kind. Listening people, just kidding. Not that people are unkind, but it's almost as annoying when it's just really quiet. And I've been trying to be more regular on here lately, but some of y'all, I'm not doing this. But I know that people are watching YouTube videos. I know that. And I often it isn't something personal, it just feels like it. But maybe sometimes it is, in which case, for you. Just kidding. But, sorry. And this is so bizarre what's going on with my email app on this device. How does my mother know where Michelle lives? People are so dumb. Even I thought she might just live in a nearby town. I tell you, some people are just not very intelligent. Anywho, so the ones where you feel like you can have an intelligent conversation with and they are good people in that, it's important. So don't wait to be kind. Don't wait for someone else to be kind first. Don't wait for better circumstances or for someone to change. Just be kind because you never know how much someone needs it. And I'd like to share. Friendship's one thing. It's true. This one particular person I'm thinking of, it's not that we were all that close. I met her before I met her daughter-in-law, who I became more close with. And I swear I was in a group with her for a little while, and she came to an open mic night. I think just the once. I remember she brought her dog. Not that people didn't sometimes there, but I don't recall her doing it more than once. But she mostly chatted with me and the people that were sitting near us, and basically, so I had this situation, which I've maybe alluded to in the past. I know nobody's watching it now, hopefully after the fact, where I have somebody that I part of me wants to do a sound check. I'm pretty sure it's working, and the green dots are moving, and I don't think they'd be doing anything if it wasn't working. But I'll move a bit closer. Yeah, so basically, the person that I was just describing a little bit, and when I knew her back then, she had a brain tumor. And she was in a support group for that, I believe, too, actually. Yeah, she came to karaoke at least 3 or 4 times, and I was almost always there, unless I was really sick or whatever, which, you know, thankfully didn't put me out of commission for the karaoke nights very often. Sometimes even when I was, I just wouldn't sing, and I'd go for a little while, I think, This goes back a number of years. But anyway, basically, the person that passed away, but I've never really thought about it, and I don't know if it would work, whether I said about my ability or otherwise, but I wonder of saying to the partner who has the phone now, she'd want me to have this number, the one who passed away. I bet you she has it, and I bet you she'd give it to me if she was alive. I understand how some, especially in raw grief, but then I heard somebody said they went and got a medium after like only 8 months, which is almost a year, I guess, but as a viewer, but or a session with one rather. But I don't know. There was a viewer there for like a few seconds, just a few seconds ago. But anyway, basically, and actually, it really does me no favors to talk about those ones. They don't deserve it. In a way, I guess maybe I'm keeping of it. Just kidding. But yeah. But I mean, again, sometimes not personal. There's good reason, but still. But anyway, basically, yeah. So I don't know if they'd feel coerced or like I was trying to guilt them into it. I cannot believe I emailed my cousin today because she's messed up and very sensitive. I don't mean, I understand HSP because I can be one at times. But anyway, basically, yeah, I don't know if that would work. Although I do think I did get the sense of feeling that he probably believes on the other side. But it's also the phone number of his former partner that passed away's ex's mother, who she kept in touch with, possibly also the ex, which is maybe kind of unique. But just lo and behold, that's whose number I mean, and honestly, yeah, I knew some of the people back in the karaoke days that she was fairly close with. And I saw one of them at the funeral. Only one, two, kind of, but she was a bit snobby. Well, I mean, I understand she was grieved, but still. But she didn't lie about who she was when I said it immediately. But yeah, basically, but they were probably like vets. But basically, yeah, I can't think of anyone else that I'd ask them for except maybe Alex. And I would never forget what the sister said, and I didn't agree. I don't fully not agree, but I don't fully agree either. I don't know if any of them have subscribed, but basically when he said it was a little rude to even ask, thankfully I was able to go to the funeral and we just kind of avoid each other. I'd met her a few times, so it was a little bit awkward. I mean, she had lots of people, and then afterwards, they were the first ones up to the eating area and that, but and, I know that her sister can't be too upset because people did comfort and console them at the funeral and otherwise, Shirley. Don't call me Shirley kind of thing. But if it hadn't been for this awkwardness, I may have done so as well. And maybe that would have been nice for me as well as her. But yeah, she basically said a certain thing and even though I somewhat maybe see it, and we hadn't seen each other in recent years, but I guess it came across a little harsh, a little judgmental. I said, I hope you don't hate me. She says, it's fine. I'm just at work. That didn't give me a lot of confidence, maybe a little bit, that things were actually fine. But anyway, but this other person, but it's Rich said, I'm not going to look, and I don't have the phone. Well, then you can't look, kind of thing. I almost wish that she did, though, because they were close. and if she hadn't looked at it that way, or at least that was before the funeral, because then it may have been a little less awkward to ask for the number. And the person herself actually replied, and it's so weird. There has actually been, I hadn't looked in a few days, 2 new guest book signings. One is at the very bottom, and one's a few down, just kind of randomly in there. I almost didn't find it. I didn't see it, but I was curious what the 2 new ones were. And one of them has a very interesting rhythm to her way she wrote. But basically, yeah, it's kind of like there was an option to reply to them. And so I messaged publicly, because that's how I could do it. I had no other way. Replied to her, and she said, "Hi, lovely to hear from you. I remember you," or something like that. It's been a hard past year. Love and happiness to all. So it wasn't really just to me, but mostly. I mean, and yeah, she didn't give away a contact you then. And I'm just thinking it's awfully quiet. Right? I just heard a weird silence. I placed my head to the door there. But she also did not. She didn't. Oh, and for those who have seen that, I've mentioned in a meeting thing before. Not all of them, including myself, are psychic. I have good intuition. I think a lot of the time I'm a big thinker. But if only I knew, what the future holds and when things were going to happen, I could relax a little bit. Well, eventually, I just find myself surrendering anyway, because it's like, I can only be so annoyed or stressed, and then I guess it's both not really helpful or productive in some cases. But yeah, basically, but it took me a few weeks to kind of tell myself that that book is way over there with possibly the recipes in that disc. To kind of tell myself that, well, I guess I've somewhat been telling myself already, if it's going to happen, if it's meant to be, it will. I've sent my email address through, but the other part of me thinks it maybe just isn't meant to be. Because actually, in a random group I'm in, when I do and don't, I do sometimes try not to look at, but I'm just being silly. But there's some spam in there too. But basically, I don't know why that's open in that tab, but also over here. Weird. I saw somebody with the unique last name. She's in Hollywood too, actually. But and I asked, and she wasn't sure, but she'd asked me to message her. So I'm waiting. I guess I am kind of waiting to find out if she's asked any family members if they might be related. It's a family that this person married into, and some people say, "Oh, well, I'm not related to the spouse's family." Some people say the spouse's family they are related to, but I guess it depends, right? But I guess she may have been with them for longer than I realized. Anyway, point of the matter being, is someone tunes in, is that I finally have told myself also, maybe partly knowing that years ago she had some health problems, and she's in her mid 50s, early 60s maybe, which is not super old, but it's not young either. And I mean, heck, the person who passed away was in her early 30s, and you just never know. But basically, yeah. So basically, I finally started telling myself that, although if it was for a brief while, while we're both kind of struggling and could be nice company for each other, that might be all right. But I finally started telling myself too, though, that, and the name Bob just jumped out in the emails from me here. I should actually look at my emails and see if there's anything that she may be kind of not living much longer either. And if that's the case, then it makes no sense to really have connection to her, or even hope for it. So even though that's a little bit disappointing, unfortunate, maybe even a little depressing, it Burgoyce, I don't know if that's right. Well, then it just clears the thing. I did shorten it. That was an hour ago. That's right. I've only been rolling here for. I saw just before I started this, the most recent comment. This was posted an hour ago. This has been half an hour. So that makes sense, doesn't it? Oh, it says 5 minutes ago. That is so bizarre. In my notifications, it says 5 minutes ago. When I click in, it says an hour ago. Anywho, point of the matter being is, yeah, so I think it's kind of put me at ease or made me accept it a little bit better to think, yeah. She sounds like she hasn't been doing well for whatever reasons. She may not still. And even though that shouldn't necessarily mean that we can't be there for each other, and even if it's just virtually support each other, whatever. But I understand, you don't want to burden people or stress them out. And I understand that mindset too. I usually feel, not to be selfish or whatever, but this is a big, long, dead piece of plant. I usually feel like it's stressing me out enough that if I have an option, a good option of somebody that's what friends are for, and I'll just do it. Not too selfish, but because we can get through it together, and maybe they might need my support too. I guess is how you can look at it. But you know what? She's going to be the one that has to make the next move, and if she doesn't, then she doesn't. You know what I mean? And like I say, if that's the case, I'll just have to tell myself, and it'll become clear if I ever find an obituary for her. I'm not just going to go judge without knowing first. Then it's for the best. But at the same time, I guess there's a small part of me that thinks, but we really never know when somebody's going to suddenly become ill and pass away. I've been, it's amazing I don't get more anxious, thankfully. And I don't feel like I watch the other media, but I have watched quite a few of them, the channeling videos. And, there's been a couple recently that, well, maybe not ones I've watched, but a couple that I've noticed or whatever, 2, 3, 4, maybe really talk about this, that. And I mean, our friend, I know a couple, or in order actually, life's just like that. So that's where I kind of think I'd be willing to take the risk, but I guess we'll have to see. So stay tuned. Maybe I'll update you on it. I know it's most important to me, but anybody that I know sees this, or just in general, people that are like, oh, I'm really curious for an update, I'll try and give you one if I get one. So take care.